Okay, hello and welcome to day 3, the day where I get ranty. As I was planning this challenge, this day felt, oh my god, I've got it on my computer so I can see your comments properly today, and I just heard my own voice. So when I was planning this journey, this 5-day journey, this day got me going the most. So I want to name, there's a charge in my body, there's a passion, and there's a real desire to tell you so much fiery truth that we're going to blast some stuff out of your system for good. Now, that is a huge task. I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself. So I'm also going to just take a deep breath, remind my body that not all that much is at stake, because each of you is completely in your own power and you get to decide what happens in your own energy systems. So, good morning, Kimberly. Good morning, Lara. Hi, Mama. Great that you're here. It really, really, really is. So let's do a quick recap. We looked at how there's this bigger picture for our lives, and in that bigger picture there's a purpose. There is a reason that you are here, and that speaks to you through these mysterious callings and through sort of your multidimensional nature, that there's your spirit guides, past lives, your whole system is essentially a human and a soul and a collective, and all of that, those energy streams, creates the complexity that is you. So now, hi Eve, now we are going to add a dimension here. So if we're just looking at our purpose and our multidimensionality, it's pretty easy to just exist, right? And to feel pretty good about ourselves, to notice how big we are, to bask in the glory of all the isness that is you. It doesn't need to be defined. When you're sort of meditating by yourself, you get to be that hugeness. And then you get into the tension of your actual life. You get into the 3D playground of being here on Earth. It's a little bit more tense, and it's a little bit more crispy, and there's things that you want, and there's desires moving you forward, and you have these callings, and you can have the vision of how amazing it might be to start living that calling, living that purpose. And you're still a human at the same time. And this human has all sorts of crazy town conversations on this side. This human cares about survival, tribal acceptance, and that means making money, making sure your responsibilities are met, making sure that people like you, they don't eject you, they don't destroy your reputation, because then your job could be at stake, etc., etc. So your human has a whole different operating system, like we saw. And it's usually our human that operates in a 3-dimensional sphere. And in most of our cultures, that is what is expected of us. So we really go by human rules. Except we are now aware, and we cannot become unaware. We can go back asleep, but we are now aware that actually there's a hell of a lot more playing out. And there's a hell of a lot more waiting for your life. And there's another set of rules that are your soul's rules. And they don't really care about tribal acceptance. They don't really care about your reputation. What they care about is your expansion. You becoming all that you are. You embodying all the gifts that you have been giving. You putting them all together in an amazing freaking way that's going to be something so unique, so different, so new, so artful, that you bring this into this world and you evolve the whole world with it. You unleash other people, you awaken other people, you help other people, or not, and you just enjoy your freaking life. Now, these really are at odds, and that is the main theme of this whole 5 days here, and the main theme of soft and true. We want to move forward with both. We need both to be on board. So, that is maybe the recap of how far we've gotten so far. I would love to hear your comments today. I don't have slides because I wanted to really transmit the pure passion, the pure intensity. Let's make this a conversation. Let's bust your worthiness stories. Hi, Jacinthe. So nice to see that you've joined. Let's do this thing. So, if we think of the human consciousness, worthiness is a thing. Because the human operates in a mindset where the power lies external to you. You want a promotion at your job, that isn't just you, that requires your boss to recognize you, recommend you for the promotion. Your human says, I want to drive a better car. The power lies outside of you because you have to get the money for it or the right dealership for it, or there's a sense of often disempoweredness that our human consciousness all by itself sees. And so when we really identify with that human way of living, so I call this maybe the sort of the small mind, the small identity, the small I, the ego stories. We place power outside of ourselves. We don't recognize that we are actually creative forces on this realm, and that the power lies inside of us. So when we are in a disempowered state, when we are like, well, I need this person to recognize my value so that I can have this, I need, etc., 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 all of these outside in things, then worthiness is a real thing, and you can ask yourself that question. However, all of that is based on a freaking huge ass lie. I'm not saying it's not like valid and it doesn't look true, but it's not based on the truth with a capital T. So the whole worthiness question is based on a freaking lie. And it's not just because we're all inherently worthy. We are, but that's not even a question you need to ask. If you go on the different operating system, which is more of the soul's operating system that includes the human, okay? We want to include the human. Take care of the human, take care of this vessel, take care of this car that's driving our essence around. When we're operating on that level of consciousness, we know that we are multidimensional. We know that we are creatrixes. We know that we create our reality. And you have all heard these phrases before, but now I am asking you to live it into your core. Live it so deeply that that question of worthiness goes away, because it's an absurdity. Because on the level of truth of this more bigger you, your bigger mind, this is all one big experience. And if you aren't receiving the thing you're wanting, there's just more untruth to move through, because it's the untruth that is keeping your life small. We just need to clear that out, let you really embody the bigness that you are, really embody the truth with a capital T, that you are a creator here, that you are here to have amazing experiences, to expand into all your gifts, to heal the trauma that you've been given, that is the raw materials, the raw lies that you need to create the real truth. Then the power lies within you. So you keep doing that until you receive the thing that you, in your human, are wondering if you're worthy or not. Within this context, the more you feel unworthy is really just an indicator of how much you are buying into the lies that your human operating system is telling you, is feeding you. And let me make a big pause here. Your human operating system isn't wrong or bad. And throughout history, we sure has needed this operating system. We really have. Earth was not a friendly place for most people. So putting all the energy into this survival consciousness was necessary. However, we're in different times. We have a little bit more range. We can play a bigger game at this stage. And that is what I invite you into in Soft and True. It's about being kind enough with this human to bring it along, because it's here. To play the game on Earth, we need a body, we need a human. It's very simple. So it's not going anywhere. You can't like park it and go and just meditate and be in the clouds. I mean, you can, but for most of us, that is not a practical, viable, or even desired solution. So the human's coming along. But today I want to really focus on the true. The true is the bigness. The true is the magic. The true is this amazing experience, this amazing game where you get to look at, what do I value? What do I value enough to put my attention in it? What do I value enough to excavate all the weird lies I'm telling myself? In the words of Elizabeth Gilbert, what do I value enough to eat that shit sandwich every day? Because everything we choose to pursue in this life is a quote-unquote shit sandwich. It's got its very terrible parts. So for her, Elizabeth Gilbert is the writer of Eat, Pray, Love and City of Girls and Big Magic. All amazing. I look up to her a lot. And for her, the shit sandwich of writing is, for a whole day procrastinating, getting to the computer and writing and struggling with commas and struggling with a sentence for 2 hours. And she is willing to do that because she loves words and she loves storytelling and she loves what that allows her enough to sort through all the shit, to sort through all the lies, to sort through all the resistance, to sort through all the fears. And she is, I would argue, maybe one of the most successful authors of our time at this time. There is something somewhere that is your shit sandwich. There is something that you probably value and love so deeply and dearly and fits what your soul is wanting to excavate and the lies it's wanting to move through for your greatest gifts and your greatest gift to yourself and to the world to really emerge. And if you're asking yourself, am I worthy of eating my shit sandwiches every day? You're wasting everybody's time. Stop it. We need your gifts. Your gifts are for you and for the whole freaking planet, because we are totally connected and we have to stop pretending like we're not worthy to live our gifts. It's the dumbest thing in the world and it really gets me going. We have to stop that. There's no more excuses. And I know that excuses can sound like, well, I don't know what my shit sandwich is. Bullshit. You totally do. And if you don't, look at the past 2 videos. There's tons of hints in your life that are going to show you. And once you do, become willing to sort through your resistances and your crap and your lies and your humans. The tribe's going to reject me, because the tribe actually needs what you've come here to give. It's a deep work of service for all of us. So I'm going to check the comments here. See what you guys are saying. Okay. Not much yet. So let's have a conversation around this. Cool. Great. Lots of you are here. That's awesome. Stop it. Stop telling you those stories. And you know what? Most of you are really on the path already. I know you are, because you have been healing. That means you're on the path of excavating the lies. That's what healing is. It's really starting to live from a source of truth. And when we live from a source of truth, we're energized, we're happy, things flow, we experience ease, all of that good stuff. So you're already on the path. 2, you're here. You're wrestling with these really tough questions. That's required, and you're doing it. So I don't know what to call it, but my call to action here is, don't just let this be a mental process, because things get really magical when you take this like awareness of what you value enough, and that you're willing to not care about what the tribe thinks, what other people think of you, because that's giving your power away. You're willing to completely become the sovereign of your life. You're completely willing to love what you love, take responsibility for your life, stop waiting around for somebody to make it happen. And if you have been, let this pep talk be your wake-up call. That is never going to happen. The only person who can live your purpose is you. And nobody's going to hand that to you on a silver platter. You need to take that power. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It can be super gentle and super soft. And there's a non-negotiability that needs to show up. Non-negotiability of you living your life, you taking your power back. So I want to return to what I started with here today. Our human can ask, am I worthy? Because the power source is outside of themselves. Now we're talking, yeah, I am on fire. We're talking about bringing our fire, our power inside. That means you are the creator of your life. That means whether you're worthy or not, you decide. You're the only one who decides here. And it's really a good measure of how identified you are with your mediocrity and your smallness and your shame. So now I want to talk about this wonderful word, shame. I've been noticing how on fire I am about this topic, because my whole 7.5 years of being an energy healer, my message has been, you are inherently worthy. And over the last 4, 5, 6 months, I'm noticing how icky that message is feeling for me. It feels such a lie, like such a coddling, like I am disrespecting myself and everybody else with that message. And I was wondering why. It's a nice message. What changed? And what changed is truly a few things. One, I became non-negotiable in aligning myself with the truth and cutting the bonds with the shadows and cutting the bonds with the lies that I have been telling myself. It took a lot for me to be willing to go there. And if you're on the fence right now about soft and true, about moving ahead with your purpose, moving ahead with becoming more visible, because you're already on purpose and you need to now become more visible so people can find you, that cutting the bond with your human will be required. And there's one more piece to this. I dove in with a healer, and because I got non-negotiable about these things, I said, okay, I'm gonna expose my deepest shames. And I had some. And again, I have done the Brené Brown work, and I have really excavated a lot already, but there were some big ones in there that I'm not going to share with you because this is not the place. But there were some big ones in there that were telling me the story, Inga, you're not worthy. Inga, don't become big because people are going to see how shitty you really are. Inga, stop it. Inga, you're really, really playing a dangerous game here. Everybody's going to reject you. So I needed to cut the bonds with those ideas so that it's possible for somebody else to reject me. It's not possible. The only person who can reject me is me. And if, okay, somebody rejects me on the outside and then I reject myself on the inside, and it looks like the person on the outside rejecting me was doing the thing, but it was always me. And I was rejecting myself over and over and over and over again. As soon as I was coming close to that story of shame, pow, self-abandonment. And I am certain that you are doing the same. And it's time to stop. So what soft and true is an application of everything I'm talking about this week. It's creating the environments that if you choose, you can expose your shame and you can free yourself from your shame. It's creating the environment such that you can move forward on your purpose. And when it looks like people from the outside are calling you out on things, when people look like they're rejecting you, when they want you to go back to your smallness, you have the support to remember to stay unconditional with yourself, that nobody outside of you has any power over you. Because that is a lie. That is the type of work we're going to do. So in 9 weeks, you're going to be astonished with how much you can heal and transform. How much you can completely elevate your relationships. Call more awesome aligned people in. Heal the relationships that you're in. You're going to create such alignment and unconditionality with yourself that you're going to become insanely freaking magnetic to everything you want. Because that question of worthiness, that blocker question, it's going to be out. Because really everything that comes into our lives is simply an experience. More money is an experience. More love is an experience. It's a flow of energy. You don't have to attach to it. You don't have to make it into a new small identity. Oh, now I'm a rich person. No, you're a multidimensional freaking amazing goddess energy. And okay, now you're having the experience of having more money flow through. Big whoop. Right? And so that's what you're going to be crafting. That's who you will become. And that makes you so magnetic and makes you aligned to your values, to what you actually really value, and which puts you on the path of more aligned money. Not money you have to sell your soul for. Because that's what a lot of people are doing still. And I recognize that. And it's not a really bad thing. It's not that bad of a deal. Because what you're doing is you're taking care of your human. Your human needs taken care of. And there's ways of taking care of your human that you're also taking care of your soul. And so we're going to start moving you towards what's more aligned. So a lot of you are moving into the healing professions, moving into speakers, we're going to move you towards that. No guarantees that in 9 weeks your life is going to look completely different, but you on the inside is going to look completely different. So that is the passion that I am carrying here. So, time to look at your freaking amazing comments. Everything I'm saying, everything you are saying makes total sense. I'm telling myself, yes, I do value myself enough, but then tomorrow when someone rejects me, I love the quote, Sarah. I go back to square one. So what instruments should I use to continuously feel that I am taking my power? So Lara, you're already signed up, you freaking genius woman. We are going to build that whole toolkit. For right now, you are simply going to put into practice the awareness that when someone rejects you and it feels like you're going to square one, that you are buying into a lie at that moment, and that there's a truth you can be buying into instead. Simply that awareness is going to already do a hell of a lot. So what that does is you're going to start cutting the bond with this needing everybody to like you, because that's how you survive. Okay. Yeah, so Eve says she feels the same way. Kimberly, yeah, go back to square one when someone is harsh with me. Tone of voice especially affects me. It seems to undo all the progress I've made. Loud, harsh voices rev up my nervous system, and then the unworthiness starts. So my voice right now might be triggering you, Kimberly. And so yeah, so same for all of you. Start realizing that what your nervous system is doing is a very human thing. You can be really soft and sweet with it, but do not buy into it. Do not believe that is the truth. You are not dying. I know it feels like that because I have been the same. I've had a little bit of practice of receiving a little bit more criticism and dissent as I get bigger. And you know what? It's really no big deal. It's really, 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 really no big deal. Just cut that shit. Also, my spirit art seems to be bringing all my shit to the surface. I'm just like, yes, it's gonna, exactly. This is exactly how it works. The stuff that you value enough is also gonna bring all your shit to the surface. All of it. And when you believe that shit, yeah, then you get into the unworthiness story. No. Today's point, you stop believing that shit. It's not the truth. You have found something that you value and that you like enough to start looking at all your shit. And that is sensational. That is worthy of celebration. Please continue your spirit art. And that's exactly how it works. The closer we are to our real goodness, the more our shit's gonna come up. Because when we're getting close to our real goodness, our real uniqueness, not like everybody else. You don't fit in. You don't slip under the radar. You're visible. Shit gets real. When you're visible, you can get criticized, you can get rejected, you can get all the things you've been deathly avoiding your whole life. And you avoiding those things has kept you small, has kept you probably feeling a little resentful, because resentment is really a sign that you're placing your power with somebody else. I'm not happy to admit this, but I am really no stranger to resentment. This has been a pattern for me a really long time, and the last couple of months, it's been cutting that freaking again and again and again, and life is so good on the other side. I swear to you. My voice is lovely. Okay, good. In my head, I'm like screaming. And so that's a really kind of cool indicator too, where you might feel like you're so intense, and because your baseline was so not intense, that when you are really intense, it's not that big of a deal for people. So let me check here. Cool. When you get close to your real goodness, your who starts shaking in its boots. Yeah, but still, like, doesn't make it easy. Fuck no. This is really, really amazing book that if you're on this track and you're noticing that everything starts shaking in its boots, it's your shadow consciousness. It's the lies you're telling you. They are shaking and they're fighting for their lives because they are in danger. Because when you are really on your purpose path and you're really moving towards what you want to create, you will have to kill those lies. There's a ruthlessness that is required. So we can be totally soft and also ruthless, right? Multidimensional means all the complexities are all welcome. So if you're engaged in this and you're wrestling with this, there's an amazing, amazing book. It's called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. The War of Art. It is, it's amazing. Really, you read it and your resistance, he calls resistance what I'm calling lies, what we could call shadows, which would call your human survival consciousness, all of that. So one thing we can do to be more soft, because I've been really leaning into that truth piece, and it has to be non-negotiable. But to be more soft, that's where all our healing practices can really come in. Meditation, where we're really practicing the non-judgment awareness piece, allows for enough space in your nervous system to not get super triggered by all the things. Going for nice long walks, playing with your pets, playing with your kids, all of these things are resourcing your immune system, but also your nervous system, so that when you start doing the hard thing, there's enough like resource around that when there's a little bit of a freak out happening under the surface, when part of your lies are dying, you have enough resilience to just still stick to the new truth. So that is why Soft and True is really not for anybody who's completely new to self-love. If you are completely disconnected from yourself, this is not the place to start. There's other places to start. But I do want you to already have a bit of a bank of resilience. So yoga builds that, meditation builds that, walks build that, art builds that, quiet time builds that, time to read builds that. So many things build that. Dancing builds that like inner resource that we can have. Oh, your ego starts shaking in. But yeah, exactly. And this is, yeah, we're really talking about the ego here in different terms, because I feel like freshening up the languaging is often very, very helpful to understand a different aspect of it. But that is really what it is. We're telling a small story of ourselves. That small story gets threatened by a bigger story. The small story freaks out. But it's just a story, like really not a big deal. So if I return all of this to worthiness, worthiness is an ego story. That is all it is. And it's up to you. It's up to you. Do you want to put stock in the ego story and keep worrying about what people think about you, and keep worrying about if things that you're doing are appropriate or right, or that they will keep you fitting in? Or are you here to play the big game, and are you here to innovate and create and be fully who you are? Now, for some of us, being true who we are is just being on a stage with 10,000 people watching us. And for some other of us, it means never really being recognized in a professional way particularly, but maybe being the loveliest mother. And we chose that before coming here, what we're coded for. So let's not judge. Let's not judge what that looks like. There's no should. There's no should, really. So that's going to be it for me for today. I'm going to stick around, see if there's any questions. But this launches our day of busting the ego's butt. I declare that day completely begun. There's going to be free intuitive readings, free coaching, free healing here today. So take me up on that offer. Tell me where you're stuck. Tell me where your ego resistance lies are shaking in their boots. And we will cut those bonds, and we will bring the truth in instead. Yeah? You down? Let's do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna check again. Yeah, I'm done. Cool. Bye, everybody.